Ellie Geis. I am a pharmacy sales consultant based out of the beautiful corn-loving state of Nebraska. GBR. And this is my fabulous customer, owner of Stockman's Drug in Gordon, Nebraska, Helen Ianello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming by and hope you learned some good stuff.
Yeah. So, Helen, if you could start off by just introducing yourself, giving us a little bit of background. You have a very interesting one. I love to hear it.
Sure. Okay. Like she said, my name's Helen. I own Stockman's Drug in Gordon, Nebraska. I purchased it 2 years ago in January of 2023, and then opened a second location, a telepharmacy, April of 2024. I am a registered nurse. I do not have any pharmacy background. I don't have a business background. I don't have an accounting background. I have an emergency room background. I can knock you on the floor and crack your chest open and possibly save your life, but no pharmacy background. But the pharmacy was financially going under, and I saw an opportunity to keep a really important resource in the area from going away. We are the only pharmacy in our county. We're the only independent pharmacy in 2 counties, and we service 2 states, including the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So.
Awesome. Yeah, well, you're the only pharmacy for like 40 to 50 miles, right?
Yeah. It's about an hour away to the next chain pharmacy.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm going to jump into some of these leadership questions that we have for Helen here. So Helen, first question. How do you balance empathy with accountability when leading a team?
So balancing empathy and accountability are very hard. You don't want to come off as too soft, but you don't want to come over as too hard and uncaring either. I took notes, so forgive me as I look at my notes. But they go hand in hand. You have to have clear expectations. If you provide clarity and in everything, so if you assign a task to somebody, ask them, what do you envision the end result being, right? That was one of the things that we had learned in one of the classes yesterday. And it's so important because, just for example, I had given my community health worker a task to plan an event called Feed the Community. And once a year on our pharmacist in charge's birthday, we feed the community. We have a big, huge barbecue, and we bring in local vendors and authors and organizations, nonprofit organizations that do different things around the community, and we bring them in and we market it. And so, I said, go with this. I'm going to, what do you think you need for a budget? Okay, here's your budget. Plan away, have fun. And her vision and my vision came out very, very different. And we had to sit down and say, okay, let's realign this. Because she was like, well, I used my $500 all on food, so I don't have a budget for this, and I don't have a budget for that. And I didn't think I was going to have to market it. And I said, well, we're a small community, and we have to wear different hats. And we don't have a separate marketing department. So if you want people to attend, you gotta market it. And so we had to sit down, and I had to ask a lot of questions, and I had to answer a lot of questions, and it just boiled down to what I thought and what she thought were different, because my perspective and her perception vary, and what she hears and what I think I'm saying are 2 different things, and we have to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We definitely see in these small independents, everyone wears multiple hats. We saw that with Oswald's, the first marketing pharmacy technician. Yay! Hello.
Yes.
I totally agree with that. I think that's awesome.
And then I have a question for our group here. How many of you guys hate conflict? How many of you guys try to avoid conflict, right? So that is something that we have to grow through and grow out of. I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life, and so I don't like conflict, and I'm not good at setting boundaries. And we have to do that as business owners. We have to, in an empathetic way, because we have to understand our staff members and where they're coming from and our team, but we do have to set boundaries. And the longer we wait, the harder it becomes, and the more it chips away at morale and creates a toxic environment in our the rest of our team. And so we have to be willing to have the hard conversation as soon as possible. And we have to do it in a kind way, and we have to hear what they say, and really just, yeah, that's it. If you don't have that conversation right away, it's going to affect morale, and it's going to create a toxic culture, and you don't want that. You want what's best for your team, right? So sometimes that means doing the personal work with a therapist or a friend, or having that discussion, like how do I address this in the best manner, and how do I do it quickly? And when you do have these difficult conversations with your team members, don't delay it. Like, with like, what's it, little talk? Like, oh, hey, Ellie, how are you doing? How was your day today? No, just rip the bandage off. Hey, Ellie, so we're going to have a difficult conversation. It's going to be kind of uncomfortable, but I noticed that you've been on your phone for quite a long time, and we have a no phone policy in the company. So I need to see that your phone is put away or shut off when you're at work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just a simple, I see this happening, I need this to happen. This is where it doesn't align with our mission or our values or where the company is going, and so we need to get you back in line. And the longer you wait, the harder it is, the more uncomfortable it is for them, for you, for the entire team, because they're watching you and seeing how you're going to handle it, because they know what's going on. They all know what's going on too, right? So we want to do that.
Clarity is kindness.
It is.
And that's honestly a perfect segue into my next question, which what are some techniques that you use for navigating these difficult conversations with your staff?
Like I said, the longer you wait, the bigger mess that you end up creating, right? So you want to be clear and kind, and you don't want to delay it. It might feel easier to let it slide, but like I said earlier, that just, it hurts morale, it hurts culture, and all of your team see that you're delaying it, and that is going to affect how they feel about working for your company. Oh, so you're just going to let that slide with them? Are you going to let it slide with me? So maybe that value really isn't that important to you. And so then it's almost like they're looking at you like you're almost like a hypocrite in a way. And I hate to use that word because that's harsh, but and then the goal when I sit down and I have a conversation with my employees, the goal is to have a conversation. It's not to have a confrontation with them. So when I sit down, I'm very blunt and to the point. I'm not very good at the whole floofy roundabout way that other people talk. And so I'll tell them, like, I have my paper and my notes, and when you're talking, I want to hear everything you're saying, but I am going to write stuff down because I'm going to not be, like, I'm going to forget what I want to say in response to you. So I'm just going to take some notes, and I hope that that's okay, and it is most of the time. And one of the things that I would implore is to know your mission and your core values, because when you sit down and you have a discussion with your team member, you have to be able to realign them to your mission and your core values. So by a show of hands, who by heart knows their mission statement? Right, and who by heart knows their core values? So if you, as the owners and the leaders in your company, don't know where your company is going and what your company values, how do you hold your team to those either? And that was a big eye-opening thing for me this past year. I've really struggled with leadership this past year. And I went to a summit, and that was one of the eye-opening things for me. They walked around that leadership summit and said, I'll give you $100 if you can tell me your mission statement and your core values. There wasn't anybody that could answer them besides the people who had been to that summit previously. And so I went back and we redid our mission statement and we redid all of our core values, and we had a leadership meeting, just leadership, and said, and I was honest and said, I've spent the last 2 years putting out dumpster fires, learning contracts, learning legal stuff, learning how to do things. We're under construction. We've had tremendous growth. We've gone from 150 scripts on our busiest day to we do about 400 scripts normal now. And we opened the second telepharmacy, and we've done 340B contracting, and we've done a lot of different things. And just trying to learn those and stay afloat with those, I let my leadership and my growth and my personal life kind of just take the back burner. And I hit a wall of where my leadership skills are. And I knew that, and I said, I can't effectively lead us any further than where we're at, and we're struggling now. Things have got to change. And so when I came back and we redid the mission statement, we redid the core values, I sat down with my leadership team, and then I later sat down with the rest of my team, and I was open and honest with them. And I said, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made so many mistakes. And I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry that you guys had to grow with me as I'm growing. My entire staff is brand new technicians as well, just to add that. And I said, but, despite the mistakes that I've made, despite what our culture is currently, this is our new mission statement. And these are our values now. And anything that does not meet these, we're going to have to move past that. And you're either going to have to get on board or you're going to have to leave. And it did mean changing positions. So like my general manager, we took her out of the general manager role and we transitioned her into a community health worker role. She was miserable as a general manager. She does not like contracts. She does not like being in charge of people. But she absolutely loves the community. She's from that community. She's related to most of them. And she loves working with the employees. She loves her job now. And some employees, we just had to go. They created a very toxic environment, and no amount of talking to them and trying to work things out worked. And this was in our telepharmacy. So here we have 2 technicians 80 miles away, and we have to sit down and have a hard conversation and get rid of both of our technicians there and try to figure out how do we staff a telepharmacy 80 miles away with no technicians. And we figured it out right away, and we did it. But it was hard. And the one technician we had to let go right away. There were physical threats and other things, and the toxicity was beyond repair. And the second one, we sat down and we had a 3-hour conversation with her and said, I want to hear what you have to say. What are your concerns? What has gone wrong? What can we do to improve it? What are your suggestions? And I wrote everything down, and at some points I had to say, okay, you're saying this, but this is actually what's happening, so the two don't align. And at the end of the conversation, she was like, yeah, I've been really unfair. But the toxicity didn't stop, and so she had to be let go as well.
Well, and you keep teeing me up for the next question. So perfect segues. Because, you've talked a lot about you're a straight shooter. You value being open and being honest with your employees. How do you foster a culture where they feel comfortable doing the same with you?
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard because you think you're doing that, and then you find out later like they weren't comfortable saying this to you or saying that to you. We have an open door policy, and I'm sure a lot of pharmacies do that. We're so small, my staff can come in and talk to me at any time. One of the things that I did was create a goals list, and you guys might not be able to see this. But I went through and I realized, we've got services and maybe there's confusion. So I did a little table, and it was, this is our project. This is who specifically is responsible for it. This is what exactly that service or project is. And this is an explanation of why we're doing it. How does it impact our pharmacy? How does it impact our community? Why are we doing this? And then we do monthly leadership huddles, and we discuss this, and we have started. It's really hard to do a daily huddle. I would love to. We do weekly huddles in the beginning, in the morning of the pharmacy, where we discuss this as well. And then we actually have a program that we implemented, and it's a weekly report, and it's online. And so they log in, and it's got like a smiley face, a neutral face, and a sad face. And it asks them like 3 or 4 questions about their week, what went well, what didn't go well, and they answer it, and then whoever we've assigned as their lead can see their answers. And then we do weekly one-on-ones, and the lead is responsible for discussing that report with them. So, maybe, for example, and then I can see them all. So, for example, we had a lead, and he needed to discuss an issue with one of our employees that decided that it's okay to just call out 15 minutes from work and say she might come in, she might not, and then never let anybody know. So I asked him, hey, how did the conversation with her go? And he was like, oh, it went great. I sat down with her and kind of explained, this and that, and she understood, and everything went well, and we had a great conversation about it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So then I read the weekly report, and her take on it was completely different, and she was very upset and felt attacked, and so I had to pull her in and have a discussion with her about, where the misunderstanding was. And then I had to pull them both in and have a discussion with the both of them about, what could have been done differently for each of you to hear the other person's side. And that weekly report that we do now, and it's mandatory, every person, every employee, every lead has to do it, that has really, really opened communication for us, because for some reason they feel like if they're writing it on paper or if they're putting it in that app, it's a little easier to be more open than it is to just speak directly face to face. And then if they know that we're going to be addressing these, then they don't look at the one-on-ones as something where they might be, it's about correction and getting in trouble, and it's not. It's about conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Helen, do you have any final pieces of advice for pharmacy owners or operators running a team before we open it up to any questions?
Just a call to action. I'm going to say, think about what leadership means to you. Think about where you really want your pharmacy going and what you value the most, and get your team on board. Great leadership, it impacts patient safety, it impacts reputation, it impacts employee retention. If you guys could think of some ways in your pharmacy that somebody has shown leadership, can anybody raise their hand and mention something where somebody's shown leadership that's not maybe in a leadership position?
Pass the mic
So
around.
possibly like someone walks a new tech through a new like a new thing that they're learning with a lot of patience. When a cashier is coached and they're developed and trained into a pharmacy tech because somebody saw potential in them, those are opportunities. So look for those opportunities in your business and reward the people who are showing leadership skills and are following your values and your mission. We've actually implemented what's called a praise pocket. And so my pharmacist in charge, me and my manager, we get a budget and a monthly budget. And out of that monthly budget, if they see somebody doing something that exemplifies our core values or exemplifies leadership in a positive way, then they are free to use their money within that praise pocket budget to reward that person immediately. And depending on the person, it could be in public in front of the rest of the team, it could be on social media, or it could just be private because some of our employees prefer privacy. But they can use that money to buy them some coffee or give them a gift card to the gas station or the grocery store, buy them lunch. It's whatever they eat. They could even just hand it to them and say, hey, here's $20. You did an amazing job helping this person out. And that gives people instant positive feedback. And then they have a form that they have to fill out that they just put like the person's name, what the person did, and what they did to reward the person. And at the end of the year, our goal is like at the Christmas party, we're going to mention the different things that people did just to reinforce that. So leadership huddles are a great idea. In addition to your staff huddles, that's one. So we've planned out a 12-month, one-year calendar of different leadership huddles. And then every quarter, we add a little bit. They're like 30 minutes long, and then we add another 15, 20 minutes for a learning opportunity, and we might pull a resource in to teach them a little bit more on something leadership-wise. So leadership huddles, praise pockets are great. Again, get your staff and your team and your leadership knowing what your mission and your core values are.
Remind me, how many employees do you have right now?
15.
15. So
Yeah.
no pharmacy too big, no pharmacy too small.
No, not at all.
That's awesome.
Not at all.
Well, I can open it up to questions now. They have a mic, I believe, that can be passed around if anyone has any questions. Anyone? If not, Helen and I will be hanging off on the side of the stage here for a little bit once we wrap up, and we're happy to chat with anyone then as well.
Yeah. I don't know if we have any more time at all, but I would just say be brave. Step out of your comfort zone. Be willing to hear and understand. Use open-ended questions. And don't walk into a conversation with assumptions, and write it all down and be clear. Like, pretend like you are. One of the things that we try to, like, one little exercise that we do is we grab 2 employees and we'll have one be the hands and the other one's behind them. And the one that is not the hands that can see has to tell the one behind them what to do. And it could be like making a sandwich or whatever. And they have to do it, and it lets them see, like, okay, what I'm saying and what the person behind me is hearing are they're not matching. And it's a real eye-opener. So, try to find some fun ways to build those skills with your whole team, and your entire business will be the better for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that is all that Helen and I have for you today.
Yeah.
But like I said, we will be off here on the side of the stage if anyone has any questions for Helen or myself.
Yeah.